Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Tuesday, February 26, 2019, and I am Colti Wright. A World War I memorial may be removed in Maryland, IFC recruitment on campus this week, a plane crash in Texas, and a local fire department receives a grant. These stories and more coming up on Texan TV News. In campus news, the Interfraternity Council will be hosting men's recruitment today through Friday. For more info, we turn to Shelby Brownson, a delegate for IFC.
So Interfraternity Council is hosting men's recruitment this week, Tuesday through Friday. Our first event is in Heritage Park tonight, 5 to 6:30, where you can meet all the fraternities, hang out, eat some food, play some backyard games. While you're there, you can sign up for the rest of the week recruitment. It'll be $20. It gets you the rest of the events of the week and bid day on Friday. So it's great. We want anybody to come out that would be interested in being part of IFC.
In local news, according to the Stephenville Empire Tribune, the Harbin Volunteer Fire Department now has immediate access to 1,000 gallons of water tanks, thanks to the $199,000 grant from the Texas A&M Forest Service Rural Fire Department Assistance Fire Program. Fire Chief James Brunson says this 2019 tender is extremely important to us because of our lack of fire hydrants. The large quantity of water that it can carry will give us a significant upper hand when fighting a fire. It will be one of the first of our trucks to roll when we receive a call, giving us a greater firefighting power and filling the need for a water supply. Brunson said, community support, along with the grant offered by Texas A&M Forest Service, made it possible for his department's new addition to their fleet. Brunson added that the department has been serving the area since 2009 and always looks for ways to improve. But without the current support systems, growth would not be possible for a small volunteer fire department. The AP News Minute reported that authorities have been searching a Southeast Bay in Texas for clues in the mystery crash of an Amazon cargo plane carrying packages into such shallow water. There were 3 fatalities on Saturday when the Houston-bound Boeing 767 crashed in Trinity Bay. 2 of the crew members were recovered over the weekend. However, the crew is continuing their search today. The crew has been using airboats and helicopters to search and analyze the crash scene. The plane was being operated by Atlas Air for Amazon. In national news, a World War I memorial in Bladensburg, Maryland may be deemed unconstitutional by Supreme Court. The memorial, widely known as the Peace Cross, sits on public land. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court will hear arguments from both sides of this debate before determining if the cross violates the First Amendment. For more information, we turn to an AP News video.
This giant 40-foot cross in Bladensburg, Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C., was erected almost a century ago as a monument to fallen soldiers of World War I. Today, the so-called Peace Cross is at the center of a different battle in the U.S. Supreme Court over the First Amendment's separation of church and state.
When we looked at it and looked into the history, we realized that this was put up on public land, that this was inappropriately done, that for years it's been a discrimination that exists.
The 93-year-old memorial cross holds the names of 49 fallen soldiers from the county who died in Europe during World War I. Local families and the American Legion paid for the monument, which resides on a prominent intersection of government-owned land and is now maintained by a Maryland Parks Commission. The plaintiffs in the case say the memorial is offensive to soldiers who aren't Christian and want it to be relocated to private land or redesigned so that it's no longer in the shape of a religious symbol.
What we want to make sure is that a religiously neutral monument is put here that does represent all veterans of all wars.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit agreed, ruling that the size and location of the cross amounts to a government endorsement of Christianity. But defenders of the monument insist it's been used throughout its history as a secular site for hundreds of remembrance events honoring veterans. And they say the memorial's shape was chosen not for religious reasons, but to resemble the cross-shaped grave markers for fallen American soldiers in cemeteries overseas.
It's a peace cross that has nothing to do with religion.
Mary Ann LaQuay's uncle is memorialized on the cross.
It represents these men, 49 men. It doesn't represent anything other than that. I just don't want it lost.
Supporters of the Peace Cross worry if this memorial is deemed unconstitutional, there will be a ripple effect across the country, potentially impacting hundreds of other monuments, from the Ground Zero Cross in New York's 9/11 Memorial to the Canadian Cross of Sacrifice in Arlington National Cemetery.
And then you could go on across the entire country where the bulldozer is going to continue to have to roll, knocking down memorial after memorial, just because some Gold Star mothers back in 1919 chose a memorial that mimicked the gravestones that their sons were buried over in Europe.
The Supreme Court will hear oral arguments on the monument's fate this Wednesday. Kelly Daschle, Associated Press.
In international news, President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are both traveling to Vietnam in order to discuss North Korea's pursuit of a nuclear program. Vietnam officials have vowed to provide airtight security for them during the summit. The Vietnamese Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs stated in a briefing that security will be at a maximum level. South Korean President Moon Jae-in said that the Trump-Kim talks would be a critical opportunity to achieve peace on the Korean Peninsula. For more of today's national news, we turn to the AP News Minute.
This is AP News Minute. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrived in Hanoi, Vietnam for his summit with President Donald Trump. The U.S. is trying to get North Korea to give up its nuclear program. Cardinal George Pell was convicted in Australia of molesting 2 boys. Pell used to be the Vatican's finance minister. He faces up to 50 years in prison. Texas authorities are using airboats to search Trinity Bay for debris from a crashed cargo plane. The Boeing 767 crashed suddenly while approaching Houston on Saturday, killing all 3 people on board. A storm dropped about a foot of snow on southern Minnesota, blocking some highways. Bitter cold temperatures are expected to continue into March in the upper Midwest. Rita Foley, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
According to the Associated Press, James Harden isn't exactly lamenting the end of his impressive score run. Harden had 28 points, snapping his 32-game streak, with at least 30 while the Houston Rockets beat the Atlanta Hawks 119-111 on Monday night. He's glad it's over since he had no expectation of matching Chamberlain's 65-game winning streak, the longest in NBA history. The Harden stretch with 30 or more points ranked second. The National Weather Service reports the high for the day will be 62 and the low 52. We'll have overcast skies most of the day with a 20% chance of rain with light winds from the south-southeast. This has been a production of Texan TV News, a product of Texan News Service from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas. Watch us live on Apogee Channel 2.1 in the dorms at 12:30 weekdays. If you live off campus, tune in on Northland Cable Channel 9. You can follow the Texan News Service on Facebook and Twitter, and check out our website at www.texannews.net for all of your latest local, state, national, and international news. Today's broadcast was produced by Chana Parvin, Joseph Seaman, and Caitlin Cox. Have a wonderful day, Texans.